He wanted me to doctor. Jenna Turner, I first met Jenna in Lake Tahoe last year at John Cheplack's event. And before he introduced Jenna, he like walked up on stage. He's like, all right, this next person. And then he like paused for like 20 seconds and he was like, she's really funny. And then like she got on stage, crushed it just like she just did and made everybody laugh. So Jenna, thank you again for the laughter. Thanks you for bringing the energy this afternoon. Our next guest is a man that I have an enormous amount of respect for. He's somebody that I have admired for 6, 7, 8 years now. I met him at Inman in San Francisco, and I didn't know that it was one of his first real estate events that he was at. But this dude, ever since I've known him, has just been obsessed. And I don't know if that's how he would describe himself. I think most of the high performers I run into are somewhat obsessed, somewhat control freaks. I don't know if anybody else like that in the room. Maybe I'm the only other one. I don't know. But people that are just obsessed. And what he's obsessed with is, in my opinion, is just getting better and trying stuff and improving it and adding value to people's lives and refining the systems and processes they have and pouring into the people that he coaches and connects with. And he's built this unbelievably amazing company in California. I think last year was the #1 team for transactions, right, in the state of California. And then this year, I believe #1, but there's like supposedly some politics that's going on, so potentially #2. So you might be learning from the second best team in the state of California. My sincerest apologies. But this guy is he's unbelievable. What they do is absolutely amazing. And when he teaches and when he talks, he gives you some incredibly tangible things that you can do. You can go take and apply in your business to get immediate results. I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Mr. Suneet Agarwal.
All right. Am I live? Yep, you guys hear me? So I have a daughter, she's 6, another daughter who's 2, and this morning she's all, before you start, make sure that you talk about me. So there you go. So I just talked about her. Serena, she's super cute. Yeah, so this has been a great event. I love Bentonville. This is super nice down here, right? We just had some food at the barbecue joint, and Grant Wise, I mean, thank you for that intro. Grant's one of the smartest dudes that I know in the marketing space. So his software, Witly, all the products are top notch. If you're not using them, start, okay? I love Witly. So, how top teams are shifting their business to continue to grow in a changing market. So back in the day, I was a loan officer and we did super well. Big old operation, crushed deals. We sent out mail to homeowners and offered to refinance them, and our phones rang off the hook. Literally, like it was crazy. We didn't have a CRM. The way that I took notes on a lead was on a piece of scratch paper. I would close or go for the close on the first call every time, and if not, if I wasn't able to take an app, we probably would never follow up. And we were still able to sell a bunch of homes, but our process sucked, right? Like all the follow-up that we should have done, and I think about it every day. Obviously, I'm starting, talking about it. Like we still made money, but how much did we lose? So, and then in 2008, the mortgage market got cracked. I lost everything I owned, and that really sucks, right? So I was irresponsible with hiring and expenses, and I wanted to live like a pro athlete or a rapper. I loved bottle service, probably way too much. I loved Vegas. I loved going to big hotel suites and thinking I was a rapper. So, right after mortgage, I got into medical cannabis. That's legal weed, people. Right? And I live in California. And I operated totally right. I helped write all the ordinances in the state of California and Sacramento. Local government loved us. Federal government didn't love us. So we got cracked super hard. Raided by the feds, went from having $3 million in my bank account to having 0 in like 5 minutes. They took everything we owned. So that was out of my control, but I hadn't planned as well as I should have. So cracked in mortgage, hard. Cracked in the weed game, hard, right? One after the other. So it's never gonna happen again. I don't think that I can really deal with it. I got little kids. I have a bunch of people who depend on me. We have about 40 on staff, I think, and 160 agents or so. So I just can't get cracked again, right? Like, if you guys went through it once or twice, it's horrible. So this is what you gotta do to make sure that you are protected from being cracked. Number one, the real basic. Don't lose sight of what got you here. What's all the stuff that you did that got you here and you stopped because you got comfortable? Like, just, I know that I have a bunch. Don't lose sight of what you got here and what Grant said. I don't pretend to be a motivational speaker. You know what motivates me every day? The first thing I do when I wake up is I look at my freaking checking account. That's the motivation I need. There's a lot of money in there, but never enough. So let's get into some stuff you can execute today. Who in here is a broker, owner, or team leader? Can I see some hands? Okay, good. Recruit, recruit, recruit. Don't stop. Do not stop. Number one, do you want to grow? Does anybody in here who just raised their hands not want to grow? Veronica doesn't want to grow. Okay. Okay, good. Pay attention, that's not what I said. Okay, good. So, do you want to grow? Or even at the very least, you want to maintain? Right? What's the easiest way to increase production? Get a shit ton more people working in your office. Okay? Recruit like crazy. How many agents do I want? All of them in Sacramento. I don't work for the one place, so I can't say the whole area, but I want them in Sac. 100% of them. License and a pulse, that's all I need. Okay? Everybody, guys, you guys laugh. Everybody's gonna be able to trip into a transaction when their mom has to sell or their aunt has to sell. I want half that money, right? So recruit everybody. It's a sure way, the only sure way to increase the production. And if the market shifts like it is, maybe it's the only way to maintain the production that you're at. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? And there's never a reason to stop. I have the opportunity to coach a bunch of great teams. Steve's in the room, a bunch of great teams, brokerages, and people come up with excuses why they're not going to recruit. There's no reason not to recruit. You guys, sales as agents, is there gonna be a time not to sell a freaking house? No, so think about it the same way. There's never a reason to stop. And I've heard every excuse. I'm waiting for the new office, waiting until I get this onboarding, waiting until we get this. No, there's never a good reason. Do not stop recruiting. KFR, baby, right? Now, something that I'm big on is being omnipresent. You guys know what that means?
Yes.
I want to be everywhere all the time, right? We used Witly and work with their team to get this across, but create content. We produce, 2 long form videos per channel per week, and we do, 20 short forms a day, right? So it's always a machine. So make sure that you're creating content. You want to relay that you're the market leader. I don't care if you're talking to agents or consumers. You're the market leader. You have the plan. And stay encouraging, okay? So make the content. We do, the posts, YouTube, Witly with the targeted lists. We send them out in emails. If you are sending them out to consumers, we begin every month with a market update. We do like some kind of tour of a house or a restaurant or park or something, and an authority piece, 3 rooms to focus on when you're getting ready to sell. For agents facing recruiting content, pretty much whatever, I'll go into Lab Coach, the Facebook group, see what people are talking about, and make a video about that. Or I'll go to YouTube and see what video got the most views, copy their script, reword a couple words, and call it good, okay? But just make it. There's not a reason not to. If you don't have the right shit or whatever, just make it. You could hire a guy, you could, rent a service, get that content made. Now, focus on the fundamentals. Like I just said in another slide, Just noticed the slide was redundant as I was sitting on that table, but focus on the fundamentals. It's the things that you know that you should be doing, and we're going to just go through what I focus on with my sales team in Sacramento. So, scripts, presentations. Practice everything. Like, do you guys have a daily role play in your sales organization? No? Do you guys have a weekly role play in your sales organization? Okay, do it more often. Practice everything. Listings, buying, maybe the ALM script for Zillow and Realtor, property specific leads. LP Mama, like I got my team just focusing back on LP Mama. Come list me, home valuations. Practice. Okay, so in the same vein, get your buyer and seller presentations dialed. Every agent on my team, I want it to be like friggin' McDonald's. Okay, is if you go to a showing with one of my agents, they are robotically doing the buyer-seller presentation. Now, where do you find the buyer-seller presentation? I don't give a shit where you find it from. Just find something that resonates with you and that you can have a reference manual to, right? You can tell your agents, go watch this in whatever you guys use. We use Crushing in Real Estate by Lamacchia. He's a great dude, it's a great service. Pipes just had, his whole book with all his scripts from the Agent Academy. Find something. Use it as a reference manual. Now is the time to get focused also on unique sales propositions. Let me see hands again. I like the interactiveness. I'm not as funny as Jenna, but I like to see hands up. So, do you have a USP in your sales process? 1, 2, 3. All right, y'all got work to do, okay? Unique sales propositions. The easiest one for buyers. Love it or list it. So what we tell every buyer is if you have to move due to job change or maybe you don't like this house, we'll sell the house for free within 18 months. It's risk reversal, okay? Use that. You can Google the Love It or Leave It program. That's what I did, and I found a couple I liked and just copied and pasted and started using it, and it worked. What's a good unique sales proposition for listings? Right? Guaranteed offer, guaranteed sale. That can cause some anxiety for people, right? Easier one that I like is easy exit plan, right? If at any time that you want to fire me, just go ahead, right? And people just sign. I will be at a house doing a terrific listing presentation because I'm the man. And if they don't want to sign, I'll say, look, I'm here right now. Let's just sign. You can cancel as soon as I get in the car. I don't give a shit. But this way we can look at the process and you can cancel if you don't like something. People don't cancel. Okay? Let's talk about more training and scripts. The real-time training needs to happen. For those of you that are doing role plays, those of you that are standardizing presentations, do you go to a house and practice them? You do?
All the time.
How often? All the time.
Well, me and 3 other agents will go once every 2 weeks. To
Okay.
A listing that I have and just practice everything there is.
Good, perfect. Who else? Does anybody in here have a listing?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
go to it.
Okay, good. Take your agents to your listing and practice that buyer presentation. We do it twice a week. Not me, I don't do it, but my sales manager does it. So go in there, find something that you can use as a reference manual, something you can standardize, and go practice it, guys. Get the reps. I think it says all this on the next slide. Get your reps in. Make it robotic. Think about your sales team like McDonald's. That's the process I want. Standardized. I keep on talking about scripts over and over again because they're so important to me. And like I said, I don't care what script. Find one that you like and that you can use. Unlike Jenna Turner, I spend millions on leads. I love leads, right? That's how I was able to get to #1 and maybe #2 in California in 6 years as an agent. Buyer lead cert. So yes, certify your agents before you give them an opportunity. They have to master our system. I use Follow Up Boss. If you don't use Follow Up Boss, what's wrong with you? It's the best. Go use Follow Up Boss. Like I said again, learn scripts and process. show up and participate. Show up to the meetings. And we're going to give you a test. We are going to test everything that we've given you and make sure that you know it for buyer leads and seller leads. So get that process going. Here's a fundamental that I'm so glad Jenna just talked about because I suck at this. Past clients, I'm a lead guy. Time to dust it off. I'm gonna hit her up after I get off the stage and get that 25 touch thing. Right? So quarterly events. So we have about one event a year because I know with Santa and he'll come over for $400. Everything else I'm not creative enough to figure out and my staff forgets. So quarterly events. I don't care if nobody shows up, to be honest. My kids want to sit in Santa's lap the whole time anyways. They say, this is Daddy Santa, right? It just gives us the opportunity to reach out prior and after. And, I'm trying to roll this out is have my ISA manager, I think I got this from you, Steve, call the clients at some kind of frequency. So working on this, hitting up Jenna, but dust off this process. I got lazy in this. When I was making this presentation, I said, man, I really need to dust this process off because we suck at it. All right, next. Do you know your numbers? Team leaders, broker owners. Do you guys have a bookkeeper? One yes. You guys have a bookkeeper?
Yes.
Do you guys obsess over your cash flow statement every month?
Yes.
Good. How's your P&L look? Good? Could be better. Like, I bug my bookkeeper. I want like a P&L in real time. It'll be too expensive to get, but I want a P&L in real time. I want a cash flow statement in real time. Do you have a forecast for the rest of the year? Okay, let's get that forecast. Forecast based, and I was thinking about this morning. Forecast based on your worst month this year. So I think our worst month in the last 3 years was June in California. Is when everything kind of seized back. Maybe it was July, but I lost 50, 60 grand that month. And I want a forecast based on my worst month. So I took my P&L, I took the expenses from that month and the income from that month and just copied and pasted and saw what the end of my year would look like if we were at that. And it was shitty, right? So where can you pivot if things hit the fan? Who are you gonna lay off first? Do you know? Do you know? You're gonna lay yourself off? Go stand in the unemployment line? Not a bad idea. So make that contingency plan. I know exactly who I'm laying off first and which order I'm gonna do it in, okay? So you should know that too. What expenses have no real value? So QuickBooks, you guys said you all have bookkeepers, right? Get your vendor sheet. Look at it every month. Is there shit on there that you have no idea what the hell it's for? Yes, cancel it, right? Like do this every single month. For your business, we've had a team for 6 years. There's shit on there that I have no idea what it is. No one does, that I've been paying for years, right? Cancel it. Get a great third-party bookkeeper if you don't have one. And here's the kicker that's hard. How many months of operating costs do you have in the bank? How many? Enough? And I'm not talking about in your personal account. Because something for me, like, I don't want to pull a bunch of money out of my personal account and put it back in my business. That sounds horrible, right? So how many months, I'll do it if I have to, but how many months of operating costs do you have in the business account right now? What's the quickest way to eat an elephant, guys? Yep, one bite at a time. Make that shit dial, I'm telling you. Be obsessed with your books. Be obsessed with that money, because that's what matters. Maybe I'm too obsessed with it, but I'm good with that. Be obsessed with conversion. Who in here tracks conversion super tight? Okay, nobody. Let's talk about the conversion numbers. Deanna? Steve does, I know Steve does, yeah. Because he hears me talk about it every damn week. So, here's how you do conversion tracking. I want you to look at your year-to-date average, okay? This is going to be just straight cold conversion. And you're going to see the average. So just because you're on some podcast or you're at an event and some dude says he's crushing leads at 12% or some shit, I don't know. Like, that's not you. That's a different process. It's probably different leads. It might be a different market. For example, we're heavy in Realtor.com and in Zillow. And I know in some markets, Realtor.com outperforms Zillow. In my market, it's not the case. So look at your year-to-date average. Who is exceeding the average and who is below average? Right? What are the people doing who are exceeding the average that the people below aren't doing? Then I look at the 6-month average. I look at the 6-month average every day. Then I look at the 90-day average, and that's just saying, who's actually meeting and who's writing. Writing means writing paper, putting pen to paper, signing on the line that is dotted, right? And then we look at the 30-day average. And that's just to track the appointments and the meetings. And it's our averages. Who's above average, who's below average. Be obsessed with that if you have any kind of leads. Who is above and below and why. And what's the difference? What can that other group teach the bottom group? Where's the coaching opportunity, right? What needs to happen? And, here's something else, is if you're doing leads or opportunities in general, how many leads on average does an agent need in your organization to get an escrow? Do you know that? Okay, well, you should. Do you have enough agents? Well, we already know that you're all going to recruit like crazy people, so likely not, because I don't have 100% of them yet. Let's do accountability, right? Let's start with yourself. What's the easiest way to hold yourself accountable? Well, do the shit you say that you're going to do, and let everybody know it. Lead by example. Lead from the front. So we have different types of accountability. I learned most of this from my coach, John Cheplak, who's coming up next, which I'm sure you guys know. But start with large group accountability. So every quarter, we do an exercise that I learned from John called Let's Go to the Board. And just to break it down, we get everybody in a room, we get a white piece of paper like this. In fact, we've never done it that way. We always do it on Zoom because of COVID, but that's the intention. Get all your agents on a Zoom or in a room, and everybody say what their goals are out loud. And we hope that the public declaration to the rest of their peer group is enough to make them think about it and keep them a little nervous, right? And keep the commitments measurable and actionable. So something like, well, I'm gonna make calls every week. That's not specific. I'm gonna make 20 calls every day. That's not specific. I'm gonna make 20 calls every day of these people from this time to this time. That's specific. Specifically measurable and actionable, okay? So we do that once a quarter. In fact, it's September, and you should be doing one if you don't have a plan to end this quarter. Okay, then we do small groups. So weekly public groups where we break the large group. I have 96 agents on my team, I think. We take the big group into smaller groups. And we don't require people to come because some people are chicken shit and won't come. But we have it. And those people get cut off from leads eventually, but that's a different story. So we have them meet weekly. And they declare their micro commitments for that week in this public declaration small peer setting. Then we set them up with a daily check-in with an accountability partner. I say you can hit each other on Facebook, email, whatever, just check in and see whether or not you did your commitments. And every week we give them the opportunity to recommit and have a new partner. And we are not done, right? Accountability to the expected activity. Do you have a standard? Like, what's your intention from the standard? I don't really know what I was thinking when I made this slide, now that I'm looking at it. But what is your... Yeah, we're just going to move on. Okay. So, the accountability to opportunity. So, We do the large group accountability. We do the small group settings. We do one-on-ones, sometimes every week. Like, I am all over our agents because I do not want to get cracked. So we give an agent 5 leads or 5 opportunities. We have a one-on-one. I want you to tell me what happened on every single friggin' lead. They get 5 leads and then they're paused. 5 leads again. Then we do a one-on-one. I have a lot of sales managers, so it helps. But we keep this process. Then we give them 10 leads and do a one-on-one. So 5, 5, 10. And after that, it's every 10. Ongoing meetings based on expectations to conversion metrics. I have people on my team that are killers. They converted 4 times the average. We don't meet with them every week. They're doing a good job. Everybody else, stay on the calendar or you will be turned off and you have to kiss ass to get turned back on. So, know your marketing, know your processes. Right? I love learning about marketing. That's why, unlike Jenna, I show up to every Zoom with Grant. Because I love it, and I probably talk about it too long, and I ask for extra meetings. Dylan's over here laughing, he's all, Suneet again. Man, this guy, always on my calendar, right? You look at him, he's laughing over there. But have an understanding of what you've implemented to gauge the effectiveness. Don't just throw money out into the fucking internet. Oh, I said it. There's the first one. Don't just throw money out into the internet and hope that your bottom line is going to go up. Know the effectiveness of what you've implemented. And a great way is to get on that weekly meeting with Grant or Dylan or whoever you work with at Witly. Improve your personal skills. So this is about marketing. And maybe you don't have a passion for marketing. I'm obsessed with it, which is why I'm always on these Zooms and multiple other Zooms. But improve your skill set in something. Maybe it's sales. Maybe it is marketing. Maybe it's leadership if you have some kind of organization. And look, you guys are doing the right thing by showing up here, right? Like, let's be honest. This is a way to improve your skills. But the more you improve your skills, the more value you're able to bring to the market, right? Right now, I'm super deep, and if you are my friend and talk to me, like, I'm learning every marketing thing ever. I'm taking 4 courses at the same time: Russell Brunson course, Perry Belcher course, Frank Kern course, like any course, like Hormozy's courses. Like, I'm just obsessed with learning all this stuff right now, because it'll improve your value to the market. I'm telling you, be the smartest dude in the place, and it'll help people in your organization. All right, next. Who do you surround yourself? Talking about wanting to be like a pro athlete or a rapper, like hanging out and getting bottle service in Vegas every other weekend. Like, I didn't hang out with good people back then, right? Who are your peers? I like only hanging out now with high performers, badasses. And I've lost a lot of friends from my old days. I don't really give a shit, right? So who are your peers? Are they uplifting you? And this is like generic stuff that you guys know you should do, but we're going to talk about it anyways, right? Like, who are your peers? Are you hanging out with the right people? Do you attend masterminds? What you guys do? Do you have a coach? If you don't, I know a great one. You can talk to me afterwards. But do you have a coach, right? And we talked about friends and peers, so that's redundant. Once again, that's like just mediting. So your input controls your output, right? Like, to get kind of silly here, but is your energy optimized? Do you eat good food? Do you exercise? Do you drink a green drink? Do you take vitamins? Do you read uplifting stuff? Do you watch the news? I don't. And it keeps me way more positive, right? But I'm too busy learning about marketing stuff that improves my value to the market. You got to focus on what works, which is the fundamentals that everybody knows. Picking up the damn phone, right? Knowing your presentations. There's nothing fancy. You just need to be consistent. If you're going to do social, which you should, do it every day. Follow me on Instagram. Like, I post a reel every single day. and stay curious and open-minded, which you guys are by coming here, taking notes and participating. Stay a student always, and just great job for showing up. All right, so follow me everywhere. I have a bunch of great shit at SuneetAgarwal.com. You can go to my YouTube for ideas for content. The Hustling Agent. Follow any of my Instagram pages. There are a lot up here. Is that 3 Instagrams? You gotta work on that. 4 Facebooks. How many of you know what one of those is? Oh, no. I do. Okay. But SuneetAgarwal.com has a bunch of links, a bunch of great stuff. And I went fast, Grant. So we have some time for Q&A. What do you guys got?
Does anybody have any questions?
Start the clap. Question. I got a question.
Joe,
Good.
got a question? Always
Come
count on
on.
Joe.
Yes.
Put up, show up.
Joe's the team player. Good.
Joe did not drive 19 hours from Miami to not ask questions.
19 hours? What, do you have to
Yes,
stop
sir.
when you drive that long?
So what? No, straight.
Straight?
Yes, sir. Let me stop for gas.
Hey, tell them what you did on your drive.
I recorded the first half of a new book that I'm putting out on audio. I caught up on a whole bunch of calls, and then I had my admin actually turn on my call calling. And then as people picked up, she kind of patched me in. So I was still working the whole time.
Think this guy's gonna make money?
Yeah. What app did you use to do the audio?
So I use so what I did was I use voice memos on iPhone. I don't know if Android can record voice memos, but we have like this app called Voice Memos that what I can do afterwards, I can save it to my files, and then I upload it to rev.com. So for 25 cents a minute, I can
Check
have,
out otter.ai.
Otter.ai.
Yeah, it's good for
All right,
that.
well, that's what I'm done now. Thanks, Otter.ai. So my question to you is, like, I follow some of your stuff once I got the thing, from the event.
What thing?
Checked the little flyer that was
Oh,
floating around that ultimately brought me here. And I looked you up a little bit, and I noticed that once you started building your team, you kind of started, and then just like took off completely. So
Yep.
going from that small, having those couple of people around you to completely letting go and scaling, what would you say is the biggest mindset shift that you had that allowed you to get there?
Oh, good, thoughtful question, dude. Wow. So I was an agent, and I really wanted to get back into the cannabis business because it was more fun, right? And when I unpacked that, I realized I really just wanted to be back and own a business, right? And I laughed and I joke with John is I'm an Indian shopkeeper, right? So that's my one joke about it. But so I really liked owning a business, and I was sitting in my office. I was at Keller Williams at the end of a cube farm, and someone said that you should start a team. I was all right, so I went to Commissions Inc. at the time, and I bought a bunch of leads, and I stood up and said, "Hey, I got leads. Who wants to join my team?" And 6 people said yes. So now I got a team, and I realized very quickly that I like being a shopkeeper and really not selling houses. I like the business part. I like the leadership part, and in hindsight, I always have. So I always rose to those kind of leadership type of opportunities. So dude, I just started hiring agents, right? Just relentlessly. And I don't know if there was some kind of mind shift change, but I just learned that there's only so much I can do by getting people productive. Something that I'm a believer in is that you can't motivate people. Like you can't, and I told you guys, I start every day, I open up my Bank of America checking account and see how much I got, and that's motivation, bro. That fires me up, makes my heart beat a little fast, and we're ready to go.
I'm Jewish, I know what you're saying.
Well, I'm Hindu, so yes, right?
We got it.
Back to the Indian shopkeeper, but, so I just realized really fast, man, that the money's in the people. And I'm not going to motivate people, and I'm not going to do some kind of program for productivity or some shit. People are going to either be it or not, right? They either got what it takes or they don't. We can give them all the systems and all the scripts, but some people just aren't going to make it. So the only way to fix that is put more people on there. right? More logs on the fire, more pigs at the trough, more every analogy out there, right? So like, and now I want, well, I have it, but I want it more, complete market domination. Maybe I'm greedy. Well, I am greedy, okay? But complete market domination, and the only way I'm gonna have that is if I have 100% of the agents.
Hi, Rick Janson, Colorado. Would love your California referrals.
Great.
What does an outbound recruiting call for you look like? What are you offering, or who do you call, or who does someone on your team call? But when you were starting out, for example, you weren't ubiquitous on YouTube, you weren't the #1 team. What does an outbound recruiting call look like to have everybody in the market be on your team?
Great. So, my coach, John Cheplak, told me to start making outbound calls. And I made about 15 and I stopped. I said, wow, this is hard, right? So I hired ISAs to make calls. And right now, they just hit the entire list, start to bottom, start to bottom, start to bottom. Now, so what's the call look like? It's a script of John's, and I'm probably gonna butcher it because I haven't made the call in a long time. It's called a Get Comfy script, right? And it's something about, oh man, he just walked in, I'm gonna get roasted for not knowing. What is it? I have a document, Yes. Want to become their destination brokerage. Like, we know you're happy where you're at. If anything were to change, we would love to have you. But now, since we send out so much marketing, like, those calls are much easier. So if you're looking to recruit, either make the calls yourself, and I say, just make 5 or 10 a day, something that you can manage. I'm hiring ISAs right now to make more of them. Right now we have a list of people likely to move brokerages. We just bought the list like 2 weeks ago, so I haven't tried it out yet, so I'm not even gonna say the name of the company. But we got a list with some kind of AI that tells you who's intending to move. So we're gonna start calling those. We also since we send out so much content, and my face is the only agent in town on billboards, and we just control the media in our market, when somebody calls, they know who we are. Does that help?
I'll wait for John.
Yeah, good. That's where I learned it from. But here's the thing, dude. Like, are you making calls right now?
Yeah.
And how are they going?
Not having the greatest success.
How do you start?
Just try to get to know them, and just say, let's talk a little bit about the market. Try to build a little rapport.
Yeah. I have a dude in the Philippines making calls. He sets about 5 appointments a week. He just hammers the list. Maybe we should have had him come on because he knows the script. Yeah, but I think that the calls work, but we do everything. Like John's having his event in Tahoe, and I don't know if you're coming to that or not, but you should. I'm gonna go down the list. I have like 82 things we do to recruit, and the calls are definitely a major part, but there's so much more that you can be doing.
Right. Okay.
So do it all. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Thanks.
You have a largely personal brand-led marketing strategy. What was the decision for you to go into that? Because I know that there's a lot of people in here that could be thinking about video content and doing some of those types of marketing. Can you walk us through your thought process on I want my face everywhere versus I want to do something that's just more centered around the team or the brokerage?
Sure, that's great. So when I first got licensed, my name is Suneet Agarwal, and I changed my name on the signs to make it easy for people afraid to try and say Suneet to Sunny, right? And in those days, my face wasn't on anything. I had a real long beard at the time, and I swear people thought I was a terrorist, so they wouldn't let me sell their shit, right? So I had a real long beard, like I told you guys about the cannabis business before, right? Like, I'm good with facial hair. And so for the longest time, Grant, I didn't want really my face to be the face, and I think it's an easier sell for agents to join the team if it's not the Suneet Agarwal show, right? But I was listening to Grant Cardone, Be Obsessed or Be Average, or 10X, and he has a whole chapter on omnipresence. right? And I thought about it and I unpacked it, and nobody else in the organization could really, be that omnipresent face of all the different entities. There was no staying power there. So if someone was going to do it, it had to be me. Once again, my coach John Cheplak talking about doing content, and if you go to my Instagram, my old stuff, it was horrible, right? Like, it was completely horrible, but I just knew it had to be done, man, and it's really paying off in dividends. So that content piece is huge.
Suneet, give everyone the real secret here. It, I think will really break a lot of people free. Can you, in an interview, no matter how many times you interview them, no matter how many personality tests you give them, no matter what questions or answers they give them, can you predict in an interview who's going to be productive and who's not when you're recruiting?
Never. So, and I learned this real fast. I had 3 agents who I brought on. One was a slick guy from a car lot, right? And you think, oh, car lot guy is going to be a badass. One was a frumpy single mom that came in wearing a muumuu, right? And one was a legit male model dude that I knew from the gym. So they all joined at the same time. The slick, I think the guy's name was Slim or something too. The slick guy from the car lot never sold shit. The male model, he was too busy having way too much fun for his own good, but he didn't sell that much either. But that frumpy mom, this turns out she was going through a rough patch in her life, right? And she came on and she just started killing it. And I know that some of you guys like to have this big fancy process with disc fucking test or disc test or all these other things that create friction, but everybody gave you an opportunity once that you probably didn't deserve. Like this happened to me. So I think if somebody comes in, as long as they're not like breaking the law or doing fraud, it depends what kind of fraud, that's a joke. But as long as they're not doing that, I'm gonna give them an opportunity, right? And if they blow it, hey, they can hang out and trip into a deal every couple of years and I'll take half that check and I'll be good with it.
Give it up for Suneet. Big round of applause.
Thank you.